Good morning, everyone. Did you have a late night last night? I wanted to let you know I made a decision, just on spur of the moment. I decided to hold today's first session of the Keynote program here at Kitty O'Shea's Bar at the Hilton Towers. There's a bus outside waiting for us right now. We'll get you back by around 10 o'clock tonight, so thanks very much for showing up. I'm Peter Giannetti. I wear two hats. I'm the editor-in-chief of Homepage News, which hopefully you are subscribing to. And Homepage News is operated as a B2B publication for the internet by the International Housewares Association. I'm also in that role the director at the IHA of editorial content and education. And that education part is why we're here today. It is the most important action at the show takes place in the North and South buildings, and we really think that's going to be an important point. We're at an inflection point in this marketplace where we're ready for that next wave of growth in the home and housewares business. And the timing of this show, of the Inspired Home Show 2024, really puts us at a critical moment where we really can kind of dictate the next year and beyond. The education program supports that. It supports all the interactions that take place on the show floor, because never has it been more important to approach those interactions with information, with insight. Sometimes your own interpretations of that insight. And it's why when I put together this program with the help of my colleagues, we really want to give you a look, not so much into the now, but into the future. And we are going to start this morning with a trend presentation by Anna Ward from TrendBible. Before we get to Anna, I just want to give you a heads up. There will be another session today at 1 o'clock with Roberto Ruiz of Univision. He's going to be talking about the growing Hispanic market, but not just growing in influence and buying power, and that's an important market in the United States for the housewares business. Tomorrow we're going to hear from an old friend, Joe Derechowski. And I say old, he's not an old guy, he's just been a friend for a long time. Joe is the home industry advisor for Circana, formerly the NPD Group. Joe has partnered with the IHA for many years, and he's going to provide his own unique flavor of data-backed insights with regard to sales and retail sales, where the housewares business is headed. And he's got some interesting ideas about when that next growth wave is going to begin. Tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock in the very same room, we will hear from Lee Eisman, who's the executive director of the Pantone Color Institute. It's always a must-attend event, and Lee will discuss the color of the year this year. If you don't know what it is, you can learn about it at the Pantone Color Watch up on the lobby heading into the shows, and she will also outline some of the key home color palettes for 2025. Again, we're looking beyond. And speaking of beyond, on Tuesday morning, we will feature the new leadership of Beyond Inc., which is the former Overstock.com organization that acquired the Bed Bath & Beyond brand and relaunched Bed Bath & Beyond last year as a digital commerce site. Marcus Lemonis, who's the new executive chairman, you may know him from The Prophet on television. He's also the CEO of Camping World. He's going to be presenting with Chandra Holt, who is the CEO, newly named CEO. She's a senior retail leader, veteran of the business. She's the newly named CEO of the Bed Bath & Beyond division. And they're going to give you kind of a recap of what they've accomplished so far since the transition to Bed Bath & Beyond last year, and what's coming forward, which is going to be the relaunch of Overstock.com and many, many other e-commerce sites that will kind of show you their direction. So with that, I really want to thank you on a day where we're just getting rolling with the Inspired Home Show, of taking the time to come here. I think you have to start with trend, because if you don't think about it, trend really is the undercurrent. It's what holds everything that we're doing in this building together. It is why product succeeds. We don't always think about that. We think about price point, we think about style, we think about color, but we don't see that as a trend. And trend is really the glue to all of that. Before I introduce Anna, I want to tell you what Anna's going to talk about a little bit. She's going to talk about global mega trends, from mega threats and climate emergency, inflation, living costs, energy scarcity, and how that continues to sort of affect and maybe undermine a sense of safety and security in the business. We're going to hear about her TrendBible's definition of trends. They are a UK-based trend forecaster that takes a look at trend both from a global perspective, but they're able to bring that into the domestic market. They work with many retail companies in the United States and other companies, but I welcome them to the stage this year as a first-time keynoter because their global impact, a global interpretation of trends, I think what makes the difference. The world is smaller. Trend happens faster. And I think we'll be hearing some things today from Anna that will give us a chance to approach the show floor with a different perspective of why a product wins and why it loses. So with that, let me introduce Anna Ward from TrendBible. Thank you.
Hello to everyone, and a really big welcome to today's presentation. It's so lovely to be here in Chicago, and happy St. Patrick's Day. It's so great to see so many faces here for the opening of the show today. So my name is Anna, and I'm the Consultancy Innovations Lead at futures agency TrendBible. A little bit of background about me. I have 17 years of experience working for some of the world's leading brands and retailers, as well as trend agencies, and working across multiple industries, from fashion to sportswear and footwear, baby and kids, lifestyle, and obviously home and interiors. And my role at TrendBible is to work on bespoke projects with brands and businesses to support them in gaining insight, from macro to consumer mindsets, design trends that will really influence brands' strategy and growth. So my role is to support teams to innovate for their future consumers. I'm based in the UK, just outside London, on the south coast in a sunny city that's called Brighton, if anyone's heard of it. And I have a huge natural interest in pattern and colour and obviously interior design. So let's look at today's agenda. I'm going to be talking you through some of our home and interiors macro trends for 2025, providing insight into some of the big shifts in attitudes and also behaviours across the home and interiors landscape. I'll also be sharing a sneak peek into some of our design trends for spring-summer 25, a studio futuro. Its abundance of colour and personality and positivity is easily a favourite trend of mine. And we'll finish with some time for Q&A, and I'll also stick around if anyone just wants to come and have a chat and ask me a question. Myself and my colleague Stefan will be here, so please do come and say hello. But before we delve straight into the presentation, I'd really like to start by giving you a brief introduction to TrendBible, outlining a little bit about what we do, what our methodologies are, and how exactly do we forecast trends. So who are TrendBible and what do we do? We identify the opportunities of tomorrow. We're a global futures agency headquartered in the northeast of the UK in a city called Newcastle. And we have a wide global network. We reach right throughout the UK, also presence across Europe, here in the US, and right through to Asia and beyond. And it's really the world's leading brands and companies worldwide. They work with us to better understand future trends for their audience so that they can make more informed commercial decisions. And what makes TrendBible unique as a trend forecasting agency is that our specialism has always been focused around the future of life at home. And never before has the home become so important. So particularly post-pandemic, home has become so much more than just a place to live. It's become our office, it's our school, our restaurant, our gym, our cinema, and most importantly, our home has become our sanctuary. Our work is hugely varied at TrendBible. So 1 minute I may be working with a sleep brand. We're supporting them with new product development to better understand the rest revolution. The next, I'm digging into what home means for Gen Z, for a large US retailer. And they're seeking to understand what that consumer is looking for amidst a cost of living crisis, a climate crisis, and obviously an aging population. So we work in the world of kitchens, mattresses, toys, DIY, gardening, gifting, celebration, food and drink. So it's a broad remit, but it's one that's held together by a focus on the home. on how we interact with our families and our loved ones, how we interact with our neighbours, how we relax, what we do for fun, and what products we choose to surround ourselves with. So, there we go. So why forecast trends? You might be wondering why the world of trend forecasting is relevant to your business. We believe that trend forecasting is an essential business critical activity because change happens all the time. Change is happening all around us in the lives of our consumers every day. Sometimes change is really obvious, like a pandemic lockdown. Sometimes it's more discreet, like a shift in birth rates, a shift in attitude, or maybe a cultural movement that's bubbling up through social media. Under normal circumstances, most brands can have a pretty good idea and understanding of the market that they are trading in. And market research, perhaps, or customer focus groups can tell them how their audiences may be thinking or feeling. However, this data quickly becomes outdated when new mindsets emerge or catalysts create new trading conditions or perhaps audiences to target. So really, trends help us to identify the changing lifestyles, the changing wants and needs, the changing environments, so that we can create new customers, new technologies, and ultimately new business models. But it's not just about product. The brands that you see really grabbing the headlines are responding to trends all across their business model. Here's a great example of this, the Stanley Cup. So many of you have seen the sharp increase, the spike in products like the Stanley Cup. And a lot of questions probably around the popularity and the virality of such a product. It's most definitely trending. But what people often mistake here is what the trend is. Now, the success of a product is built on knowing consumers are caring more about the environment, that they have a greater understanding of personal health and of well-being. Lifestyles are definitely transient, they're more convenience-seeking. But the style and the look of a product is still of significant importance to the consumer. The innovation of new product around these insights leads a brand to really take market share with something like the Stanley Cup. This product is trending because of a wider collection of consumer trends, that they're intersecting to make this so relevant to today's consumer. And hopefully some of today's insights will help you to consider what's affecting your consumer. What do you need to consider when you're innovating new products? So how do we do it? The world of trend forecasting, it's often seen as a bit of a mysterious or perhaps quite a secretive industry. So we wanted today to chat a little bit more about the methodology behind our trends, how we create forecasts and directions that help you to understand the bigger picture, and create directions that help you lead actionable directions and ultimately successful product ranges. So we start with what we call mega trends. These are an important starting point because they influence so much. Topics that we explore here tend to span around 15 plus years. So these are major societal shifts and changes. An example of megatrend may be sustainability or equality for all, or more recently, the growing digital age and the aging population. And we then explore macro trends. A macro trend is where you develop a more detailed forecast, and this can knit together influences from two or maybe more megatrends. The reason we focus on macro trends at TrendBible is that they tend to be much more specific, much more useful and more tangible than those overarching megatrends. Especially for those designing products, experiences and marketing messages. Our clients use macro trend reports to validate, to justify, and also to inspire new initiatives. They support brand positioning, marketing campaigns, and advertising, as well as product development and product assortment decisions. So we publish our reports exactly 2 years ahead of time, so that it's the high-level decision makers can use them to drive business strategy, right from the outset. But the way this information is presented also makes these reports really tangible and to support designers and buyers in their range building, as well as marketing teams further down the line. So from a commercial point of view, we think of the macro report as our starting point in terms of the product cycle. The macro report influences and really sets the tone for the rest of our forecast for the year. From these macro trends, we start to consider the design details. How does this macro manifest itself into design and product development by season? What does it look like? What are the key materials and the key colours? This comes in the form of our seasonal design trend forecasts, and they detail colour, material, surface, and indeed narrative. So this slide shows you how we translate our foresight framework into our products and services. And today I'm going to present some key insights from our 2025 macro reports, as well as that sneak preview into some trends from our seasonal forecast and subscription reports. So, our first trend here, one sec, I've gone too far forward. So our trend panels, let's dive into some of our global insights and spark some ideas today. We kickstart every trend from macro to design by enlisting the expert knowledge of global trend forecasters, designers, and those with lived experience. We gather together as a panel to share and discuss and unpick those behavioural and mindset shifts. We've observed those and the likely design impact we expect to see on the wider consumer landscape in the coming years. Our trend panels have posed some really interesting topics for 2025, from the cost of living to mass displacement, climate crisis, and indeed conflict. Our 4 macro trends for 2025 delve into transient homemaking, low desire living, owning it, and rebellious creativity. And each trend here has been developed really mindful of the socio-cultural backdrop of financial uncertainty, the undermining of basic needs and stability, and the sense of polar crisis that will almost certainly be epitomising the next 24 months. And our first trend here is transient homemaking. So the notion of home is being pulled apart and put back together again by co-living or short-term arrangements. Whilst we might be used to imagining co-living as stylish, high-end apartments full of young professionals, these necessity-driven arrangements are anything but poster perfect. We're talking 30-somethings and young families pushed into informal homelessness, lodging with acquaintances or family members, often temporary with little stability. Renters lack traditional opportunities for home building, and this cohort is really growing. Now, the average age of first-time buyers has jumped from 32 to 37 years in the UK, and here in the US, from 33 to 36 years. Now, these are consumers in their prime home-building years, when brands should be vying to build relationships with them. Now, seeking stability. Within the Western world, we're seeing a couple of concurrent trends emerge here. We have a looming homelessness crisis and a larger informally housed cohort. They have no other choice but to co-live with parents, grandparents, friends, or the parents of friends. Not only will young people be living interdependently for longer, they'll also spend more time within their home. The cost of living crisis is impacting this generation more than any, meaning they lack funds for socialising, for well-being, or other activities that take them outside of the house. A lack of social communal spaces will push lives into the bedroom, creating that to become a place for rest as well as socialising solutions. Gen Z are also more likely to work freelance or nurture a side hustle. So how can young professionals conduct their multifaceted work lives within a shared home and ultimately a much smaller space? Propositions that enable these consumers to explore multifunctionality whilst also reflecting a sense of self. They need to be considered by our brands. An interesting stat here that really supports this: almost 75% of 18 to 24-year-olds view more than one place as home, and nearly half of it think of it as a feeling. And this is according to research carried out by Space 10, IKEA's former think tank. So how can your products provide people with that real feeling of home? Cross-generational roomies. Unexpected house shares are emerging based on mutually advantageous and codependent dynamics, with people thinking twice before hopping on the property ladder themselves. For many, the home will become less private, with the need to always be ready to welcome extended family, or opened up to strangers to help cover household costs. Now, the app Silvernest home sharing really leads into this trend. There we go. Really leads into this trend, connecting compatible older homeowners with roommates who can support them with household chores, with digital understanding, and in return for affordable rents. According to a survey on the Centre for American Life, there are 60 million Americans now living under one roof with both their parents and their children. And the home of the future, therefore, it needs to support energetic kids and young adults, yet also be a space of care and for well-being for the older people, as well as space for work, for learning, for leisure, for all. Homes have to become ready for this change, with clear dividers of space to delegate the personal versus the social. This includes the rise of things like graduate annexes, graddies, and loft basement renovations. Iterations of this could include micro homes within homes, where perhaps a spare room is converted into a mini living suite or a mini second kitchen. And let's look at decor for now. Now, with cost and prices increases and retailers under pressure, both that wait to invest in the best and, it'll do for now, that mindset is really reigning when it comes to purchasing decor and furniture. Now, this trading up and down mentality means the middle ground has to work that much harder. There is no such thing as, an easy purchase when material costs mean even IKEA prices have soared by 80% in the last year. In a return to a pre-fast fashion era, householders will either do without and wait until they can afford something nicer, or look to, fix up inherited or free finds. This will create a need to elevate those temporary solutions. A beautiful throw has the power to transform even the lowliest couch into a cozy resting space. In turn, it's becoming about creating impact without the price tag for both the consumer and the retailer. This is also going to stimulate a desire for creative DIY projects. A US survey found that 72% of Gen Z and millennials are looking for new ways to improve their home, whilst 40% lack the confidence to start. And it's Instagram influencers like Lena Werner of All the Peaches Please that really showcase this mindset of learning new skills and creating for the joy of it. She describes her work as thrifting, designing, vibing, and learning. And as she shares design hacks and DIY techniques online. So let's look at what the key product priorities are here. How do consumers invest in homeware with the mindset that everything will have to move again? How can we develop products that create that sense of home quickly and with that low investment? And how can brands aid the existence of that multi-generational home? Now, solutions here include things like modular systems, like this adjustable worktop, for multi-use that's by Kitchen Blue House, that can start small and it can be added onto and built upon in time. Beautiful portable items like cushions and throws, small items of furniture like these interconnecting sofa blocks by Sarah Hyatt that can move with the user and always provide that feeling of home. Apps and services that strive to connect people in mutually beneficial situationships will appeal to those looking to solve both the housing and the cost of living struggles. And if you haven't already, now is really the time to revisit your customer personas to explore which of them may be most impacted by financial instability and transient living situations. Now, our next macro trend is low desire living. Introversion and purposefully disconnecting are the new luxury, accepting that you can't have it all. It gives consumers a sense of peace in the world where, focus is elusive and rest is a rebellious act. Opting out of the hustle to have it all leads householders to make compromises, accepting that there's a season for everything. Your modal living becomes increasingly popular. Living in this way means being able to transition from one mode to the next. And brands will need to support these transitions with simple, stress-free solutions. Values are more important than ever, but acting on them won't be realistic for all. Micro-activisms and micro-actions can help those people feel that they have participated in this behaviour. Distractionless. So in a cluttered and chaotic world, there is a yearning for simplicity. Focusing on just one idea and doing it well is a skill without the distractions of the outside world. And distractions are really getting out of control. They're tampering with our mental health, our well-being, our productivity, and indeed our happiness. And engagement rates on social media are declining as a result, along with a backlash against technology. People are moving away from those quick clicks and consumerism to slower, more considered, immersive forms of content and ways to consume products. Taking away the distractions and the constant notifications from our mobile phones, brands like Punk'd and the Light Phone are focused on creating product design that is consciously minimal. There's no social media. There's no clickbait news, emails, or internet browser. There's no anxiety-inducing infinite feed. This fundamental mobile phone concept is mimicked by the increasing popularity of dumb phones, particularly with the Gen Z consumer. Nokia reported selling tens of thousands of its retro model phones monthly in 2022, showing the growing movement to disconnect from social media. And soft fascination. Now, this is the idea that the gentle mental stimulation of nature can keep your attention for just enough without straining your concentration. And this is a concept that's been cited as one of the key daily therapies for overstimulation and attention deficit. Art projects and public spaces are taking this concept to consumers. They're using immersive experiences to momentarily transport minds elsewhere. And Daydreamer is a kinetic sculpture that's by Tous-les-Jours, and that's at the Plaza Park in South Bend, Indiana. And it combines music with light and gentle rotating public benches to create calming soundscapes and encourage those communal moments of pause. Now, let's consider our new non-negotiables. Now, a heightened awareness of our values and how we live up to them is starting to dictate who we date, which businesses we support, emphasising the why behind everything we do. So consumers will begin to cluster around niche values, seeking like-minded life partners, friends and social spaces. Communities will be built for vegans, for eco-activists, for parents, or even for dog owners. And we'll be increasingly finding these identity markers becoming the basis for an entire lifestyle. Grazer is a dating and friend-finding app for vegans and vegetarians, and it's a prime example of this behavioural shift unfolding. Whilst this is a time for forging new and stronger values around the issues that matter most to an individual, it's also a great period of tested values. In the face of the cost of living crisis, how can people uphold values that can often cost them time and money? Now, businesses have an opportunity to bridge the gap between how a person might want to live and how their current financial situation allows them to. Brands need to ensure even their basic, their no-frills product lines are ethical and good quality. You are no longer competing against other brands, but against the customer choosing not to spend at all. It's really key to understand what your consumers' non-negotiables are. And let's look at some of the key product priorities. Now, a rejection of hyperproductivity, from quiet quitting at work to scaling back our social lives. Now, this is where individuals get to set their own pace, slow, single-tasking, doing one thing well. Not being affected by the rush of the outside world, the true priorities in our lives are what's getting attention. Now, taking the idea of daily moments for pause and rest, this modular mattress named Twin by designer Mitali Krasset is a multi-purpose modular twin bed system that offers creativity and flexibility for modal living in the home. Designed to transform into beds, a seating arrangement, tables, and more, it offers infinite opportunities for daily rest. Similarly, with a focus on comfort, style, and health needs, the Lean On Chair by Wonchal Lee and Byeon Kim is designed to help a person maintain comfort during breaks or between their household tasks. A new wave of smart home tech shows demand for convenience and on-demand services, but without those constant notifications. Determined to blend in with a home's ambience. And Google Signals is a collection of 7 smart devices designed to help consumers. It's using air, fluid movements, subtle sounds, and other non-invasive signals. And these devices are designed to look like sensory objects, yet mindfully embedded with tech. Now, on to our third macro trend, which is owning it. This trend responds to the fast-changing and diverse needs of families, households, and communities. There'll be a growing need to fix it yourself as governments, organisations, and businesses are struggling to keep up with the needs of increasingly non-traditional and diverse families, as well as the challenges of modern technology and media. Taking back control will become a key focus, prompting many families and householders to take matters into their own hands. Doing it together digs into how network solutions can support better, more affordable lifestyles. Now, connection to others is key to it all, and it's that it takes a village mentality that applies not just to caregiving for children, but for all of us. Underserved citizens are hacking the system to give themselves sustainable solutions to the problems they're facing, whether it be childcare provision, poor housing, tackling food waste, sustainable living practices, or environmental concerns. This trend very much feels like the taking back of control in the areas of our lives that we can affect change. Our immediate localities, our networks, and our spaces in which we live. Technology serves in bringing communities together, but in real life opportunities are even more important. With the benefits of interacting with strangers or casual acquaintances being more widely appreciated, and it's the power of situationships, casual, non-traditional relationships between individuals that are bound together by their common circumstances. And it's this connection that's being used for positive collaboration. The savvy home. Many consumers will be seeking greater value in all forms of what they purchase, they do, and they bring into their homes after a substantial period of financial hardship. Brand loyalty will waver over cost effectiveness, and consumer decisions will be less emotional and much more practical. Thriftiness becomes a badge of honour, and values will welcome new audiences, experiencing a demand for elevated bargain house and homewares. And brands must demonstrate to audiences their true value at all times. So this will create new product segments from the trivial to the high end. Now, lo-fi protective hacks, such as sofa jackets that add to an aesthetic, but they also protect those forever pieces in the home, like these by Cosmo and Raw Edges. This is a modular sofa with a seamlessly interchangeable covers, is a great example of this. You know, life changes and our needs change and our furniture must change too, and adapting to new lifestyle choices so you can fall in love with it again and again. There's a buzz around freezing, which will continue to gain momentum, and it's helping households to achieve zero food waste. The freezer will take up more space within the kitchen, and high-quality frozen meal segments will boom. The LA-based brand In Good Company offers limited edition frozen meals created by local chefs and restaurants, and the container can be used to cook the contents and then reused again and again. Storage and container solutions that accommodate a freeze-first culture should make it easy for households to segment for sharing, individual portions, and family meals. So let's have a look at the key product priorities here. Now, consumer mindsets are shifting. As we become more financially and environmentally conscious, many are reevaluating their consumption habits and reassessing how we handle products and objects that are at the end of their life cycle. With drivers such as repair cafes and skill sharing gaining popularity worldwide, the repair revolution is really gaining momentum. Aligning with consumers' demands by offering them a lifelong repair guarantee. This means that customers can come to the brand or the retailer for a repair or fix, rather than disposing of the product. Look to unisex fashion brand Uskies, whose garments come with an at-home repair kit. Be clever with product ranges by selling individual and interchangeable parts for products separately, and marketing those parts, those repair parts, that householders can purchase easily to fix damaged products, demonstrating a commitment to repairability and an awareness of your product's life cycle. Take inspiration from the US furniture brand Sabai, who sells different components for their best-selling products, including cushion covers, furniture legs, and seating arms as part of their Repair, Don't Replace manifesto. And DIY guides and skills sharing are a key element of the community which is forming around the repair revolution. Brands have the opportunity to equip their consumers with the skills they need to repair the products they are buying. IKEA and Space 10 explore this idea in their Point and Repair concept, which is an AI-fueled program which works by users pointing it at an object, and it will make suggestions as to what upkeep or repair that product may need. And our final trend, rebellious creativity. Now, counteracting feelings of future fatigue, eco-anxieties, financial fears of and isolation, we'll see a focus on abundance and possibility. For 2025, it's about wanting more of what's important for everyone. Consumers are tiring of that doom narrative, and it's this trend that's a conscious push against that. The focus is firmly directed at an individual's passion for radicalized living, with full abandon and prioritizing that pleasure in the now. It's a way of living with gratitude for what we have rather than what you want. An overarching sense of freedom of expression runs through this trend. An overarching sense of freedom of expression runs throughout this trend, as householders choose to follow their heart rather than their head. Post-taste decorating. Now, fundamentally, for 2025, we'll see overwhelm dissipate into a desire for optimism. A growing rejection of conformity reframes what is beautiful, acceptable, and desirable. Householders simply don't want to be told what to like any longer. They want to indulge in their own tastes and surround themselves with objects that bring them comfort and joy. And it's this mindset that's leading to increasingly absurd maven behaviours, and a case in point is the example here we featured, artist Mr. Doodle, who has doodled across the entirety of his $1 million home. We're also seeing an uglification of products at the high end, as artists and designers strive for originality and find inspiration in virtual or AI design narratives. But for the mainstream, it's about finding a home for objects that you really love and being surrounded by things. We'll see a return to clutter, embracing the comfort that it can offer and the unattainability of the perfectly organised home. This is less about buying into one carefully curated look or being told what to like, and more towards eclectic, individualistic tastes and styles. But let's not forget to play. Now, 93% of adults are stressed, and 80% are looking for new ways to de-stress, according to Lego, who have witnessed an unimaginable boom in sales of kidult play products, all ages embracing and enhancing a childlike sense of curiosity, imagination, and playfulness. Within the home, social gatherings have become a place for play. Dinner parties, once the serious affair, have gone through a casual phase and full circle back to grand, eclectic events where the styling is more important than the cooking. This is hosting as a sport, bringing that wow element to events through multisensory experiences that combine fashion with food or music with drink. So what does this mean for homewares? As householders embrace creativity, self-therapy, and a sense of nostalgia, at-home cooking, dining, and hosting will undertake a sense of playfulness and novelty, with cook and dine accessories tapping into humour and fun-loving spirit. It's things like placemats, salad servers, drink stirrers, and napkins are serving as those add-on accessories, an opportunity to inject some novelty fun and into those table settings and creating those micro moments of joy. Tablescaping scenes remain important, becoming increasingly expressive and interactive as this playful host persona is emerging. And its bold combinations of vibrant and dopamine-filled colours, a great opportunity for basic and value range cookware and tableware products to have that elevation and be updated with fun use of creative colour. But this trend certainly isn't limited to the cook and dine space. How might you bring elements of play into your category? Consider how this trend might shake up resting, bathing, and even cleaning within the home environment. So that wraps up the preview of the macro trends for 2025. I'll pause a moment before we step into the final part of the presentation and take a look at one of our 4 design trends. But, before we do, has anyone had a moment of reflection during this presentation? Perhaps overlooked a mindset shift or a consumer behaviour. Is anyone sat here thinking, I need to know more about future trends? Well, please come and connect with myself and my colleague Stefan during the show. And I can honestly say it's the brands and businesses that invest in insight knowledge to build those strategic foresights are far better prepared and confident in the trading landscape than those that don't. So let's take a quick look in the last 10 minutes at our Spring-Summer 25 trends. Now, the development of our seasonal forecast takes around 6 months from beginning to end. We start by exploring all the challenges and opportunities that we think the sector is facing, and then we spend around the next 6 months devising product trends and strategies that we believe will support you in meeting those challenges. We gather thousands of data points and visual case studies from contributors around the world. And we really spend time refining this into 4 themes, which include commercial relevance, ensuring that we've met the needs of a wide range of brands and retailers, from both the high end to the value, traditional to the modern, and slow-moving as well as fast-moving goods. Now, the trend we're going to explore today is a Studio Futuro. This trend is about vivid abundance, eco-positivity, colour drenching, street culture, and empowered craftism. What's driving this trend? Now, this trend is driven by the growing influence of the Latin American design community, both within the continent and beyond. We see reconnecting with vibrant cultural heritage as key for consumers looking for newness in ways to live and the types of visuals they will surround themselves with. Alongside this is a drive to counteract the doom narrative of the polar crisis with this abundance of positivity. Integral to this trend is the influence of the Latina and Latinx spirit on the exploration of the decolonization of narratives in design. We see this Latina culture showing up amongst its vast diaspora, who are third culture kids and their collaged heritage and are owning and really celebrating their hybrid cultural identity. Also, on the theme of Latin American design, we're seeing designers reframe the cultural aesthetic of the region, shifting and challenging outdated perceptions, as well as creative communities, promoting cultural diversity through initiatives and collaborations with artisans, working to revitalize traditional crafting techniques. And what's the mood? It's bold and it's a really uplifting trend, and it's seeing householders surround themselves with a unique curation of colour, shape, and pattern. Whilst the vibrant, colourful streets of Latin America provide inspiration, it's the meeting of friends and community and creativity that influences how we gather in our own homes. Curbside hangouts, courtyards, and markets set the mood for outdoor spaces, full of energy and hustling, bustling atmosphere as friends gather to feast and socialise. Maximalist decor is thriving in this trend. An abundant and empowered atmosphere radiates out with richly textured homes and juicy hues. And we see graphic prints and jagged spikes are juxtaposed with traditional crafting techniques, and textiles playfully blend reinvigorated Mayan, Aztec, and ICAT geometrics. Now, colour. Now, it's full of bold, saturated tones. This colour palette is expressive and fruity. Deep shades mingle with warm tones, radiating abundance, whilst these acidic notes of lime punch add a really fresh vibe. And the colour usage. Now, with a number of intense tones in this joyful palette, it's apricot cream that really calms the combinations down while still feeling bold in itself and really neutralises the acidity of that zesty lime punch. It's the neutral tones of natural fibres used throughout this trend that also help to give it breathing space amongst those bold shades like the fuchsia red and pepper green. And it's that golden glow that provides a calming counterbalance to energetic citrus shades for interiors filled with glow and sunshine. As we look at print, we see a distinct, playful graphic edge features across prints in this trend. Fresh iterations of the classic repeats are infused with sharp vectors, blocky shapes and symbols, and striking shades. And messaging is uplifting, and typography really exudes energy, bringing the joy and vitality in Latino languages to the fore. Now, for material, traditional craftsmanship is blended with bold, contemporary forms and finishes in this vibrant trend. Colourful tinted plaster, high-end gloss ceramics mingle with natural brushy fibres and chiselled wooden surfaces. Vivid designs and colours are mixed with traditional making methods and materials like dyed rattan and recycled polyester weaves. Now, let's take a look at an example of a design-focused page from one of these reports. This one is organic and jagged. It's perfect for updating statement items and creates a wonderful coherence when used across both print and pattern and shape too. Zigzag trims and starburst shapes are really exciting and integral design feature to this trend. From prickly pears and dragon fruits to the busily hustling and bustling mood, there's so much inspiration for these spiky forms. There's a really organic edge too, with non-uniform proportions, creating a real sense of movement and energy across print, pattern, and indeed textiles. Now, I've pulled a few examples from key pages from the complete report to show how this trend manifests into things like furniture through these relaxed, pared back silhouettes, which take inspiration from outdoor furniture. Home accessories, building on texture and creativity to deliver exciting and vibrant objects that become almost artifacts within the home. Within textiles, we'll see bold wovens really celebrated and embraced, reminiscent of market storage and displays, bringing energy and depth. While synthetic and recycled materials are emphasized, like recycled mats and bags, tapping into a sub-theme of innovating with limited resources and revitalizing traditional techniques. And finally, within the cook and dine space, which we know is of growing importance for the hosting consumer, we'll see tactility being an important factor. Food-inspired textures and finishes, high gloss, and acidic citrus shades used to really amp up the saturation and the freshness of this trend. Now, I hope you've enjoyed having both an introduction to our macro trends and our design trends for 2025, and that you're left feeling really inspired and ready to explore the show. Our TrendBible platform shares plenty of free trend information through my TrendBible. So if you're not signed up for these free insights already, feel free to scan the QR code here to be directed through to my TrendBible to sign up. And if you'd like to know more about our subscription platform and our bespoke consultancy services and how trends can really support you within your business, we still have a few limited spaces to connect for a trend audit. You'll see on your seats there is a flyer to scan. But please come and reach out after this talk and have a chat if any of those opportunities are of interest. And thank you so much for joining me this morning, and I really hope you enjoy the show today. Thanks.
Thank you, Anna. Stay there for a moment, if you could. You got me? We know we want to get you going, and we started a little late, so I have time for a couple of questions, but I want to start with one question. And what's the common struggle or pain point that brands and companies that come to you looking for trend advice, what are the issues they're facing that lead them to you?
Without a doubt, 80% of the brands and businesses that we work with, their biggest struggle is implementing trends. And I think trends have two purposes. They can inspire designers, buyers, marketing executives, and they can help you validate. And I think that it's the implementation of trends where our consultancy department within TrendBible really helps brands to thread that, what we call red thread, so taking the brand DNA and applying this, because some of you may look at this and think, this is out there, this is wild, but it's about sort of experts within the business understanding their brand DNA, understanding their consumer mindsets, and filtering this information to make it relevant to their consumer. And I think, implementing trends is definitely the key struggle.
Very good. Let's try to take a couple questions if there are any out here. Right here. Hold on, wait for a microphone, please. Coming your way.
Hi.
Hi.
Akachi. I don't know if we were supposed to say names. I'm curious to see your perspective on, so do housewares now, are we seeing a trend of people discarding the housewares that depend overly on technology? Is it going against the trend of owning it because it's more of a reminder of like subscriptions, overwhelming of these different types of content that we may not even be using, like settings we may never use within like, a year or so? Are people discarding that to more, smaller, more like vintage type of housewares instead?
I think people are seeking to find the balance. between obviously wanting to be connected, wanting to know newness, wanting to connect in this global world, but they're also finding that really overwhelming. And so it's a case of clever integrated tech that blends in with their environments, that integrates with their lifestyles, that's not constantly blaring and sticking out like a sore thumb. I don't know if that's a very British saying, but hopefully that translates.
We say that here too.
You
Don't
say
worry
that here?
about
Okay,
that,
good. But I think it's about really thinking about tech integrating within our lifestyles rather than pushing and demanding yet more from us, because our lives are really busy, I think.
I think it is interesting. The slides didn't include like heavy tech.
No.
Because it seems like what you're describing is a culture and a society and a community that's sort of maybe overwhelmed by it a little bit and wants to get back to sort of less technical dependence and make it it's just a core foundation of their life right now.
Yeah, definitely. And I think definitely with a younger consumer, it's particularly interesting. They're actually the consumer that you'd initially think, they're tech natives, aren't they?
Yeah.
But they're actually wanting to say, actually integrate this, make my life helpful and useful, but don't overwhelm me with it. Give me space to pursue my personality and my style.
There was a question up here. Hold on for a microphone, sir, please.
Hi. The current generation is feeling increasingly isolated, as you've also mentioned in your slides. How are they expressing love to the people important in their life, and how is it different from how the older generation has been expressing love to their loved ones? Do you have any insights on that?
That's such a brilliant question. I love that. I think that the younger generation are much more open. They're much more willing to just, wear their heart on their sleeve and to say, this is how I'm feeling, this is me. And it's that real unapologetically, this is who I am, this is how I feel. And I think multiple ways that they're showing love. I think that we're becoming more open and accepting society, and we're accepting sort of situationships where, people are being brought together, and, non-romantic collections of people that is about love and sharing and community is what we're seeing here. So it's not just about romantic relationships, it's about showing love and companionship. And I think that that's becoming much easier for the younger generation, definitely.
We'll take a couple more right here to this young lady.
I probably don't need a mic, but okay, fine.
She does not need a mic, but that's okay. If you could, though, just in case people don't hear you.
Okay, just in case.
Thank you.
My name is Deborah Winfrey. I'm just now opening a retail store of cookware and things like that. And here's my question. You gave a lot of trend data for a certain age demographic. Mm-hmm. However, my research and my market has a very big group of people who are empty nesters and have decided to redo the house. They've got money, and where I am, people, they've had good jobs in automotive, they got money, and there is a very, very big demographic of earlier boomers or 50-ish.
Yeah.
And they have money to spend. They want certain things, and I'm not certain, maybe you can say that, whether these trends, because nobody wants to be left behind either.
Yeah.
So could you?
I totally agree. What we've shared here today is not everything. It's a sneak preview of the type of things that we cover at TrendBible. One of the areas that we've been doing loads of research in is what we call the queen ages. And they're this consumer that you're talking about, empty nesters. They're having what's called their second life. They've actually got incredible spending power. They outspend their early 20-something equivalent. And they're quite often women who are really empowered and have a lot of desires and wants and needs, and that they're really influential. Yeah. the amount of women that say, hey, queenager. But yeah, we cover loads of that within our Trend platform and within our consultancy services. What you've seen today is a snapshot, but definitely, yeah, I totally agree with you.
I'll take one more, just a quick one over here. Hold on a second. Hold on.
Hello, my name is Todd, and first of all, just thank you for coming back for year 2 to speak to us about trends.
Oh, thanks.
It's very appreciative. A lot of talk about sustainability and the importance of that. What do you see in terms of this offset of, call it fast fashion, fast furniture? How does that align with sustainability when we're going to Costco to buy a $200 sofa and pitching it in the landfill? And second, maybe supported to that, are you seeing trends yet where the manufacturing cost of these sustainable materials is actually becoming more mainstream to manufacturers?
I think we spoke about the consumers almost like the non-negotiables. You know, the cost of living crisis is hugely impacting, you know, what we have to spend on furniture and home accessories. And I think it's about brands being really clever with that and making, you know, manufacturing sustainable product is more achievable now. It's no longer got the huge price points. And I think it's about making sure that even the elevated basics have got an element of sustainability in them, because people want that. People want, you know, that is a really important value to consumers and one that they potentially won't negotiate. Obviously, we're in a cost of living crisis and, you know, there's many people that they just simply can't afford and they will make necessity-driven purchases, really. But I think more often than not, we'll see thriftiness as well. And I think that that's becoming a huge badge of honour, and thankfully so. But also, I think for brands and businesses, thinking about how they can tap into products that already exist in the home, to improve them, to elevate them, to make them modular, multifunctional, is definitely forward-thinking, is the way that brands and businesses should be looking. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Anna Ward. Thank you, TrendBible. Very interesting stuff. Folks, hope to see you next time. Get out there and start looking around, and maybe all of this will start to connect with you out there too as well. Appreciate it. See you later.